Okay, so today I have the real pleasure of inviting Johnny Oduya at Hale. Hello,
Thank you. How are
how
you?
are you today? Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
really well. Super excited to have you here today.
I'm good too. Thank you. It's nice to be here.
Yeah, yeah. Now, Johnny, can you please tell me a little bit about yourself?
Well, where to start? I'm from Stockholm, Sweden, originally from the beginning. I'm born outside of the city, and then I'm uh, I'm a fanatic hockey player, I would say. But I started to play hockey quite young. I was dragged into the sport by my older brother that also played, so I started to play very young, and
Cool.
then played in Sweden for a quite long time, and then played professionally as I moved to the States when I was 24, and I was there for 12 years.
Wow.
And yeah, well, always loved the game. Always, I think I'm also quite a curious individual that I like a lot of other things, not just the sport or not just hockey in that sense. So all of these curiosities, especially when it comes to nutrition and training and the
Yeah.
holistic world,
Hmm.
I think now I have expanded into, and of course that is what I work with now mostly, but I still have the performance and the training in the background. Of course, it's a big part of my life. So yeah, I would say that that's the shortest story
Yeah.
available.
What did you do in the States? Did you play hockey or?
Yeah. So I played professional in the NHL for 12 years. I played almost 1,000 games of hockey over there. So
Wow.
I've played a lot of hockey in my life, but I
Yeah.
feel very fortunate, and it was a great time.
Hmm.
I loved the time and the intensity and just the struggle of becoming a good hockey player. So it was a good time. Yeah.
A lot of mental training as well, I can imagine.
I would say yes and no. There was some, not so much as I think that I would have needed. Hockey is kind of weird like that. It's you train everything else basically, and your mental and emotional states nobody really tells you how to deal with. So that's one of the reasons also I like to do what I do now, to see if I can change that both in the sport but for athletes in general, I would say. So all the projects that I'm doing now are related to that, I would say. Yeah.
So a lack of understanding about the mental health, led you to where you are today. That's pretty amazing, I reckon.
Um, Yeah, I think there's more layers to becoming a full spectrum athlete than just doing workouts. Like now, it's almost like we have the way how you treat the mental game is through the physical body, and you train your physical body in a way that prepares you to handle the mental parts. I would say that's mostly how it's looked like, and I think there's another way how to do it as well. I think you can focus just on the mind, that experience and the emotions to be able to handle that in a better way, and of course then also training your body. So I mean, this is something that I think if you look at elite military, for example, I think they understand this, and they give individuals tools maybe to handle it. And then of course you have to have some toughness in that, but there's also multiple of spectrum that I
Yeah.
think it's not the toughest individuals that becomes the Navy SEALs. It's the ones that can cooperate the best, and can handle their own emotions usually. So that's it's an interesting thing to look at. Yeah.
And handling your emotions comes down to obviously doing a lot of healing and mastering your thoughts and emotions. And so now you, in 2019, you started Hale, is that right?
Yes, that's correct. Not just me. I think it was a group of people, and especially we had some co-founders also. So not just me, but Hale got started in 19. Yes.
And what is Hale?
Hale is in broad terms, I would say, a breathwork community, and we do everything that has to do with the breath, and we try to focus around that as much as possible. We when we started in 2019, I think we were the first pure breathwork studio actually in the world at that time. And the intention was to bring all these major techniques and schools and ideas together and take out some of the dogma and the ideas that there's a better way to breathe or not. And I know that's something that's talked about a lot now in the breathing community, but it's not really. I mean, everybody has their style and their way to do it, right? So they're going to think that's the best, whereas we think that's up to the breather. It's not up to us, right? So kind of the MMA of the mixed martial art of breathing. So that's how we see what we do.
How did you get into breathing?
Well, like I said, I've been very curious with a lot of things when it comes to especially performance and trying to understand myself better and discover that. And I've been in biohacking world, I would say, the last 10 years. And this is one of the things that appeared that I thought was interesting, that was probably, I wouldn't say the easiest way to get somebody else to do, because it's not really, but one of the things that nobody knows about and I think have enormous impact. So it became very interesting to be able to do that. And then the idea of how do you spread that? It was basically going through some experience myself and then realizing, okay, but nobody's doing that, and why? And I'm feeling this good and it's doing all these things with me. So why don't we have this like widespread as yoga? Why is yoga that and breathwork is not? Like, I couldn't understand that. For me, it was very strange.
What did it do to you? You were saying it did.
No, but I think just the overall experience of well-being and understanding yourself, and of course, when it comes to training, you know, you can perform and do hard things and drive, but if you don't understand what's going on with you, then you will have no chance. So I think there's some people will have that easier and more natural than some other ones. Like anything else, you know, some people are faster or stronger or smarter or whatever it might be, right? And then other ones need to practice that. And I think really that's what it made a big difference for me. And also coming out of my career, I had 30 years of professional or not just professional, but 30 years of career in my body, right? So going through that and that transition, and it really helped me doing that as well. So just the overall feeling, I think, is the subjective feeling of well-being, I think was the strongest component, I think, for me.
Yeah, and I think with breathing as well, it's I do a lot of breath work myself, started in a few years, and I find that when I go running, I run a lot, and you know, breathing in through the nose and out through your mouth, the nitrogen oxide increases and your stamina, and also it gives you that sense of calmness, you know, the pace. Or if you have a big meeting, you take some deep breaths beforehand, and that'll calm you down. And what do you find that breathing helps me most with your clients at Hale?
Well, there's a spectrum. Like, yeah, it's a very good question. I would say 80% of the people come there because I think they want to experience something. I think that's the number one. It's also the biggest difference between that and maybe meditation. You know, I love meditation. I do Vipassana retreats and meditate not daily, but as often as I can, every couple of times every week at least, for longer sessions. And I love it, but it's a very hard thing to sell to people. And it sounds like a bad thing, but I really mean that. It's something that everybody knows that they should do, but nobody's doing it, you know. It might be one of the things in the world that people know that they should do and they're not doing. And most of the other things we kind of do, we sleep and eat and train, and like, you know, we kind of do it, but this one is really, really hard to get into. So I think breathwork is completely different in that you get something right away the first time you do it, and especially how we constructed the classes now. So, you know, we have this experience that you can go through and understand that the breath is actually something important and interesting to look at. And after that, you know, the spectrum opens up, and it's everything from trauma work to healing to, on the other side, being very specific and maybe work with certain conditions as asthma or COPD or post-COVID or whatever clients we might have, right? So you can work with individuals, you can work with them in groups as we do. Some of them are there because they want to experience things. Some of them want to stress relief. Some of them want to understand themselves. Like there's so many things that could be done, right? So in that, I think just understanding the breath from the beginning and understand that it's something. I think that's the first step.
I'm very curious. You were saying like healing and trauma. Can you heal childhood trauma through breathing?
I think there's a combination. I think you would view it as a portal. I would say, and that's kind of what we see now. So
when you're having the pain, you're feeling the pain coming up, those emotions, you just breathe through them. Is that
exactly? I mean, I wouldn't say that the breathing by itself is going to heal anything, but it makes you come into a state where you can look at certain things, and certain things might appear that will not appear in the normal world, so to speak, that you're going to hold down and press down. So that's what we see. Sometimes individuals come in, and that's also one of the reasons why they go there, that you can have this, you can experience what actually is going on instead of trying to hide it. And that is usually quite powerful, and it's quite useful to have the ability to go to a place and actually do that, instead of year after year after year after year just build things up, and then eventually there's a big crash, right? So it could be, sometimes we talk about the emotional shower, and that is more needed for some people than others, of course. If you're very deep into trauma, you might need more support also in that, also combined with whatever things that individuals are doing. Maybe it's talk therapy or manual therapy or food and nutrition and eating or sleeping. Like there's a lot of things you can do, and I think the breath is a
complement.
It's a complement. It can stabilize you if things are very uncertain, and it can also open up and create instability for you if you need to get out of a certain place, right? So it has the ability to do a lot of different things. Yeah.
So what's your advice if you're getting a really big trigger coming along and you feel really anxious and you're getting quite stressed? How can a breathing exercise calm you down? What tip do you have then? How would you take yourself through that triggering?
Yeah, I would say, regardless of the breathing technique, I think what comes first is try to be with that emotion as much as possible. So I would say whatever breathing technique that you can do to help you stay in that emotion, I think is a good idea. There is a problem, or there's a challenge with trying to do a breathing technique to get out of something also. So I think the mindset around that, sometimes it's a challenge when we talk about the breathwork work, and especially the tools, right? Like, I can't sleep, so give me this tool. Whereas, why are you not sleeping in the first place? And is there a way for you to calm yourself down to be able to sleep? Then maybe, yes, breathing techniques could be good. It's quite a slippery slope.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I really like to work with the behaviors and the understanding of these triggers and how things actually appear in your body. But the first step is to acknowledge that something is going on, and this is difficult to do. I mean, I would say even for me, not like I'm a guru or a master at this at all, but for everybody to not just move to the next thing and try to get out of a situation. It's a very, very hard thing to do. And if you can use breathing to stay in that, I think it's a very good idea. So the example would be, if you're in a breathing class and of course you experience something that might be challenging, there's a multiple ways that you may want to use to get out of that. It could be, you stop breathing, that you want to get out of it, or you stop talking, or you stop crying a lot, or you can't stop crying, or it might be a lot of different things. How do you want to get out of it and bypass it because you don't want to be in the emotion, right? So if there's a way how to do it, you can stay with that. And once you stay with it, the emotion then would lose its grip on you, right? So that's the kind of the whole basis of how to figure out that as much as possible. Yeah.
I had a chat yesterday to someone, a psychologist, about mental health in young adolescents, and the anxiety rate is very high, as we all know, in teenagers and young adults. What's your advice to the young teenagers out there that are struggling with mental health? Do you have any good ideas and tips?
Oh, I'm not. I don't have a diploma in this. I was going to say, but so it's hard for me to make those. Of my experience, working with this now for a couple of years, there is a way to learn to understand your emotions through the breath. Yes, and I think I basically will leave it at that. There is ways, of course, that you can alleviate certain things that you're going through, and especially immediate things that you can help support that with the breath as well, and certain different techniques that you can do. But yeah, I would say in general, as I said before, if you're listening to this and you're feeling certain things, then number one, there's nothing wrong with you. It's a fully normal thing to have as a human. And learning now, I think I would see it more as an opportunity to understand yourself. And you have the chance to do that even at a young age, then it's even better, because the things are not going to disappear. You're going to have to learn how to deal with yourself, because it's not really the world around you. It might feel like the world around you, but mostly it's you have the power actually to do something with that. So not to really try to put anybody down or blame anybody. I would see it as opportunity than something else. And through the breath, yes, there's opportunity to learn more and understand more of yourself. Yes.
Do you think we should implement like breathing classes in schools, like in the sport lessons?
Yeah,
as a combination.
100%. I think it should be everywhere. I have not found, like I said, I've been doing a lot of things that I think most people would not do, and I cannot find something that's easier for everybody to understand, but so complex and has so many multiple ways, a big spectrum of use that you always have with you. So wherever you go, you always have this key kind of to your nervous system and to your emotions and your mind. And why not learn how to use that? I think that's we need so many more tools, like you're saying, that we need things in society now when things are ramping up a lot, that is easy and you can share fast at the really lowest, also cheapest level in society. And I can't find anything else that can do that in this way. So if you find something, please let me know. I have not found it so far that's purely natural and you can do everywhere and you always have it with you. So
and it's free.
Yes, it is free. It might cost you something to learn and understand it, but other than that, once you have that knowledge, it's free forever, right? So it's a very powerful thing to understand. Yes, I would say.
Amazing. Thank you so much for that. Brilliant. Now, Johnny, to something totally different. What is the biggest fear you have faced in your life so far?
Oh, my biggest fear? Oh, that's a good question. No, but I think I like everybody else. I probably fear. I sometimes fear my own emotions and especially in relations to other people. I would say, whatever, you can have triggers around that if you go into relationships or with friends, or I think that's probably my biggest fear. I'm not really afraid of dying. I think I might have a fear around not being useful enough for the world or other people. So leaving and nobody will care about you. I think that might be something that I had a fear from before. But yeah, I would say that's probably the things that I can come to mind. But relations with other people is always scary. I don't think I don't know anybody that don't think they're scary. And no. Of course, then always the idea of death could be the other thing that maybe you can have. I think I did have when I was younger. I was sick a lot when I was younger, really, really young. So I have this, that's maybe why I have the interest also in health and wellness and all these things. And I think I had a more of a fear mindset around nutrition and training and like all of these things. Like I wanted it to be like this perfect thing and I will never get sick and, you know, live forever kind of. Whereas now I think I'm more into, I believe I'm not as intense in that, although I do a lot of, you know, strange things with my diet still, or try to do a lot of fun things, I would say. I don't view as ultimate or dogmatic or whatever you would say, as I did before. So that might be the only other thing. But yeah, those things, I think everybody can recognize them and understand them. You know, health, relationships, and death are like maybe the top three. I don't know, maybe there's some other ones as well, but yeah.
Yeah, and I agree. I mean, we all carry some childhood traumas with us. No one can escape traumas. And
Yeah.
of course, when you are in a relationship, that's going to pop up.
Yeah,
at
exactly.
some point.
But
And
it's opportunity to same
to
thing
grow.
there to look, yeah, to look at yourself. And like working with people is wonderful because you get challenged in that in multiple different ways. So I see them all as beautiful learners. One of my friends told me before when he was going to have his one and only son, the first son, that he said that my teacher is coming to Earth. And I thought that was
true.
yeah, I thought that was really brilliant. I'm like, oh, okay, that's probably what it is, you know. Like you won't be able to hide from your
They're
kids.
very honest.
They're kids and the judgment, right? So we all gonna get judged. It's not by God, but by your kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're good teachers. Absolutely. Where do you hope we are in 10 years from now in the world?
Oh, that's a big question. In regards to what?
Anything. What's your ambition or your wish, your personal wish? Or
no, I wish we have trained 10,000 guides that can spread breathwork to the people. That's really something that I would love to do. So I think it would be needed. Like I said, the pace of society will go up. I'm really looking forward to this, you know, the next generation solving the problems or the challenges that they see now. We won't be able to solve them for them. So they will need to, our job will be to give them enough support and tools to solve their own problem. And so I'm looking forward to see what kind of solutions and things they will come up to with all these smart young kids now that are coming up. So, and of course, there's some challenges around that. This new AI thing that we don't really know what's going to happen with and what the development is going to be. I think that can go either way, and if that's the case, people really going to need breathing. So yeah, we will see. But yeah,
many changes ahead. A lot of things happening, and also many people doing the healing work, which is really lovely and very beautiful.
Yeah, it's going to be needed.
Stepping into high consciousness and
that whole market and this whole world. I mean, I've seen this. As I said, I've been in this world now for quite a while, and this is what's coming because there's no other way. We need to find a way to balance it out or mediate or understand what's going on, because otherwise it will not be very pleasant. So I think that's why we're seeing that more and more. Of course, more people are coming into this space, and more also for themselves, you know, leaving that world, but understanding like how can I interact with that world in a different place, you know. So for sure, it's going to grow.
And as a man, do you find it's quite easy for you to talk about deep emotions and feelings with other men?
It depends. In some circles, I think it is. It depends. Some circles it is. Some circles it's more difficult, and that's also one of the reasons why I love Hale in this aspect. You know, you can be and be full spectrum man as you want to. I don't think one thing takes out the other. I think you can talk about emotions and go out and be powerful or whatever you want to be at the same time. I think there's nothing. I think actually they work quite well hand in hand. So it's a good for me. It's a good. It was or is a good development for me all the time. Also in my personal journey to be in this space and really, I would say that Hale has a very good balance of the yin and yang, so to speak, and that is a quite nice place to be in, because other places in societies it might not be like that. The hockey world, I think, is maybe completely tilted to one way, right? So yeah, it's interesting, and it's cool to see how things develop also in those places, of course. But I think in general in society it's changing, and we will see what it turns out to be. So yeah,
gotta stay positive and keep on shining and doing your mission work. You have a massive mission now ahead of you. I'm so proud of you and your community.
Thank you.
For contributing to a much better world and helping people get in touch with themselves. Thank you so much for coming today.
Thank you. It was very nice. Nice for
having
me.
I really enjoyed meeting you. Lovely.